Media friend of mine once said that LinkedIn was the business meeting to be invited to, Twitter was the cocktail party, and Facebook was the house party. I agree that Twitter is like a cocktail party. It's little conversations here and there with different tweeters. Okay, the basics. First, whatever you want to say, you need to say it in 140 characters because that's all you get. Also, you want to tweet often. Tweet often, unlike Facebook, which you only want to put up a couple of posts. Otherwise, people will get annoyed and unlike you. On Twitter, you can tweet often and should tweet often so people will see you. But you don't want to do it too often because Twitter does have limits. I think it's 1,000 tweets a day, and I think there's a limit for how many tweets you can do per hour. There's also, this is what I go by, a 20-20-30-30 rule. And generally it means 20% of my tweets are retweets. 20% are things I found on the internet that I think my followers would like. 30% is responses to other tweeters. And then 30% is my stuff, my blogs, my website, my videos. Other tweeters have different rules. Some are 40-30-30 and have different ways. I would suggest you play around with it. Some terminology. Hashtag. I find this is a big one that a lot of people have trouble with. I see it as a kind of search engine. You use the number sign or hashtag and you put in a word or phrase that you will search for. It's used a lot in Twitter parties, which is an advanced topic at the moment. So say you're watching Downton Abbey and you want to talk to other people on Twitter about Downton Abbey. So you put in hashtag Downton Abbey, no spaces, and you'll see all the posts that were made, whether it's your followers or not, every post that says Downton Abbey. And of course you can add to that too. Your handle. A handle, most of you may know, is basically your username with an @ symbol in front of it. And then lastly, a typical tweet is basically a title or a small sentence and a link. And the title and the small sentence are connected in some way. So you can say, ooh, how about this dessert for 4th of July? And then you would have a link to that recipe. How does Twitter help? Well, in my opinion, I spent a lot of time on Facebook where you only do a couple of posts at a time. And when I looked at analytics, which is another advanced topic in social media, I have found that the #1 place I was getting traffic to my site was Twitter. And I didn't even have that many followers at the time, and I didn't post that often. So to see that I had so much traffic from Twitter was surprising. And I've been spending more time on Twitter because of it. You may need it just to bring them to your site. You may not be a blogger or a vlogger. However, you want to get them to your site so you can show your stuff off. So Twitter helps by generating traffic to your site. That's what I have found. I also have found that I build most of my virtual relationships through Twitter. It sounds bad, but really what I mean was people who I talk to on a regular basis, who I ask questions of, I get them mostly from Twitter. I'd say 75% of the people who I've met and built some relationship with was through Twitter than any other social media platform. And that's of course not including people I've networked with, which is a whole nother tactic or strategy. You want to sign up, obviously, and I'm not going to go over it over here because it changes. But I will give you some tips when you sign up. First, you got to pick a handle, and I have heard some social media say that if the shorter the handle, the better. So when people retweet you, you can fit into that 140 characters. I used up every letter when I made my handle, but it's Broadcast Sunny, and I am broadcast or broadcasting Sunny over many of the different platforms, and this way people will recognize my Twitter handle or my name, and that's why I did it. So you can make your choice there. In your description, put your website. I can't tell you how many people I visited their website because of it was in their description and I was curious. Also, you want to put a description there because people will based on following you based on your description. Also, put your profile picture in. There are many people I won't follow because they don't put in a profile pic. I think it's a dummy account. So followers, what kind of followers do you want? Quantity versus quality. Some people will take any follower they can get, that's fine. Versus quality, which is you want followers and follow people in your target group. That's fine too. I started out getting any follower I can get. Once I reached about 500 followers, I started focusing on who I really wanted to reach. So most of my followers now are my target group. I put need to follow in order to be followed. That's not necessarily true. However, when you're starting that out, that's probably more true than once you get yourself established. It's good etiquette. That's how I see it. So I would suggest following those who followed you. However, I have some rules on who I will follow. One of them being I don't follow people who have who do not have a profile pic. In general, I do. However, there are a few people. I'm sorry. In general, I don't. However, I do have a couple of people who I do follow who don't have a profile pic. But to me, either they're not serious tweeters or they're creating a dummy account. A dummy account is someone who's trying to get a ton of followers and then they sell the Twitter handle. I also find they must speak my native language, which is English. I'm not fluent in anything else. I say that mainly because I don't know what you're saying. And I don't follow you if I don't know what you're saying. I look at the number of tweets the person has made because I have found when there's only 2 or 3 tweets, it's a dummy account. What I'll do is I'll look at the person and I will look to see what kind of tweets they are, and I look at their description. The description determines a lot for me. And I will not follow you back if I see a lot of cursing, whether it's in your description. But if it's in your description, I will not follow you because I figured if you're going to curse there, you're going to curse all over the place. But in your tweets as well, if there's a lot in your tweets, or if they're derogatory, I won't follow you. Find someone in your quality following list is lists. Go onto somebody's website and click on the lists. Go onto their website, their Twitter site, their home Twitter site, and you'll see a link to list. Click on the list and it will list all their lists. For instance, I have a list called My Tweeters. These are people who I have met person to person. There's a couple who are not, but they tweet a lot with me that I put them on there. Anyway, I know if I tweet something, they'll tweet back. So when you click on the list, then you're going to, when you click on the list, you're going to pick a list that you want. And this one is a social media list. And there's a little description of what the list is about. You could see the highlighted box that says 35 members. You click on the members list, and then you're going to follow the members on the list. You will not subscribe to the list unless you want to, but if you're trying to get followers back, you have to follow them. So you follow the members on the list. So say you're a mommy blogger and you want to talk to other mommy bloggers because they tend to follow each other and support each other. You click on the mommy blogger list if they have one, and then you click on the members on the list. And that's how you get the quality ones. It takes some time, and it takes some time to find them. You'll be following a lot more than people following you. And then that number is going to get very large. So eventually you're going to want to unfollow people. And the way I would do it is wait a couple of months or even a month, and then you want to unfollow them. And one way to do this, there are things on the web that help you with this, but one way to do this is to click on a tweeter, and you see in this highlighted box, it says, she's following me. It says follows you. That means I'm not going to unfollow her. If that is not there, the follows you, then you want to unfollow them. How much time should you spend on social media? A lot of people have said this, have asked this, that they think it's a lot of time. Twitter can be addicting, but what I do is I set a timer for 15 to 20 minutes in the morning, afternoon, and evening. You could do it just 2 times a day or even once a day. And I try to go through my 20-20-30-30. By doing that, I will need to schedule tweets throughout the day so it looks like I'm there more often than not. The ones that I schedule is my stuff and the stuff that I have found online. The stuff that I retweet right away, that I tweet right away, is my retweets and the responses to my mentions. That's why I go on it 3 times a day. So if people mention me during the day, I could check it and respond as quickly as possible. You could also remember that you can schedule tweets in the middle of the night. I should point out that the scheduling of tweets cannot take place in Twitter. You do it through HOOTSUITE, which I will go over briefly at the end. If you want to do Twitter parties typically take an hour. You don't have to stay there for the full hour, but typically it is an hour. That's an advanced topic too. Hashtag FF or hashtag follow Friday. I find most use FF now. That if you get on a list of hashtag FF, I have found that if you follow the ones on, it's hashtag FF and a list of handles, and I will follow the people's on the handles because 9 times out of 10, they will follow you back. I find the people who do the FF are doing ones that A, are in your group, in your target group, and B, will follow you back. So you can even do it, you do it on Friday, hashtag FF, I would recommend. Okay, so let's go over HOOTSUITE real quick. HOOTSUITE is a social media management. It's one that will manage more than one social media platform. It does more than Twitter. It does Facebook. It does Google Plus and LinkedIn. I use it primarily for Twitter. You can schedule your tweets in there. You can auto-schedule tweets where HOOTSUITE decides when to tweet it. I find that they do it in 10-minute intervals, but that's just me. You can look at your lists individually, so I can see my tweeters list, and I'll respond to my tweeters because you want to take care of your people. And it lets you look at your mentions, which means that if somebody puts your Twitter handle in their post, it will come up in the mentions list, and you can respond to them or say thank you, or thanks for the shout out, or maybe you're in the middle of a discussion that you could talk about. It also will shrink your links that you put on it, so it will save you some characters, although Twitter sometimes, not always, will do that automatically for you, but it's a little helpful. So that's HOOTSUITE. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but if you can figure it out, then go for it. I should make another video for that. Twitter the cocktail party. I hope that was helpful.